think journaling is really good for people, and just use some journaling, which would help everybody. I don't like writing. I like drawing. I like listening. I like seeing pictures and chart patterns. I'm rubbish at writing stuff down, but I think it really does help a lot of people, and we see big gains, not financially, but gains as improving with their trading when they start writing things down and they become more self-aware, because they can see the best days, their trading days they've had are the days where they've just really prepared. And it's worth it, all this preparation, all this journaling, it's worth it to have the freedom to trade for the rest of your trading career.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm sitting down with Lee Sandford, looking forward to talk about his journey from a soccer player to trading full-time. Looking forward to see how that's going to come. Peak performance, a lot of good stuff in that interview for sure. So Lee, how's it going? Welcome on the podcast.
Yeah, good. Great to be here.
Awesome. Good to connect. I know we've been trying to set up an interview for a while here, so that's good. Good to have you here, of course, in front of me. I want to kind of go back and actually tell people who are and a bit of a background about yourself first and kind of what you do these days.
Yeah, sure. So I've been trading 20 years, just reaching the old age of 54 now. So started at 34, and trading college started 14 years ago. So we're pretty much established here in London. And and we're educating people, mentoring people mainly. Yeah, it's mainly mentoring students. We don't do a membership type of product. It's more like sort of nurturing students and getting them to but develop themselves as a trader. So yeah, and of course the passion is obviously trading myself. So I day trade the markets in the mornings, predominantly the FX market. So yeah.
I want to go back in time and let's go back 20 years ago. How did you start trading in the first place?
Oh yeah, we've got to go a little bit back before there. But so in the football world, I mean, I've been playing football for 17 odd years, well, as a professional. But before that, 8-9 years of age, I'd been training with professional football clubs, and and then I retired at the age of 34 with a serious neck injury. So the reason I got into trading is because I was so bored with the football. I'd done it for so long, the discipline of eating, drinking the right stuff and training, a fit body, sleeping, good habits. I decided then to, become a trader, and just wanted to get out of sort of football and get into something else for myself. Because, 34, you're a long time retired from football. So I had to do something. So I just sort of reinvented myself and flew to the US from London, and just sort of got mentored by some people out there. There wasn't really anything here in the UK at the time, not that there is now. So I flew to the US and just spent some time with some friends at Merrill Lynch, and then on the trading floor at Chicago Board of Trade. But I was not on the trading floor. I was being mentored on the trading floor of the Chicago Board of Trade, and just learned from traders over there, really, and sort of brought it back, and then started trading for myself and trading my own accounts. And several years later, then started trading college.
Were these people you knew at Merrill Lynch and other banks that were able to kind of mentor you, or did you have to kind of make some connections to learn trading?
No, I had a friend at Merrill Lynch who was on the dealing side there, and for equities, and sort of like, spent time with him in the UK and spent time with him out in the US. So it was just really just getting a grips of what I wanted to do. But really, I went into technical analysis, charting patterns, using charts, and I'm a very visual person. And it was the charting that really did hook me. And then when I was, I was single them days, no children. And so I'd spend all night, early morning, just watching chart patterns and reading charts and diving into that technical analysis, which I never get bored of to this day.
So how was that learning curve to go from soccer to then being able to trade? Because you consider there's like a lot of similar things, like with peak performance and stuff, psychology also, but I'm guessing the analysis, the charts, the trading aspect was maybe different a little bit.
Yeah, obviously sitting on my backside at a desk when I'm trading, but the other side of it was the discipline side of it, carried over from the football world, and the dedication, wanting to do well at this. And it was the same with football. With football, you put the time and hours into train to become fitter, learn more technical stuff, become more skillful, and it rubbed off on the trading side of things. And What I didn't really get at first, the transition into the football from into the trading from football, was the risk management side of things. We didn't you sort of deal with that in football, sort of how tactically you play, but with the trading, having to manage risk and being wrong in a trade and still make money, and that day was interesting. But really did really enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of things that do rub off from professional sport, professional performance, professional athlete into trading. And it's, I've got a few things that we'll talk about later, but yeah, it certainly did help me.
So what was the goal back then? Was it to trade on your own? Did you ever want to like start a fund or maybe trade for a bank? What was your aim with this back then?
I just didn't want to work for anybody. I didn't want to, there were football managers that I didn't really get on with. Most of my football managers I played with were great. I loved them. There's one or two I didn't want to get on, I didn't get on with. So I just wanted to do something for myself. I just wanted to have the freedom, because you don't have the freedom when you're a professional football player. You are in this sort of cocoon, this world where you get looked after all the time. And so I just wanted to do something for myself. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to rebel against all that. And so I just wanted my own destiny. I didn't need to work for anybody when I retired, but I also wanted to create this sort of skill and career for me going forward.
How did you know that trading was actually working for you? Was it like a point in time where you realized that you were good enough to keep doing this, or did you kind of just let it go and then just like go with the flow, basically?
Yeah, so it took me about 18 months. I lost about 48 grand, 48,000 pounds in the first 18 months. And after that, it just clicked. I read a lot of psychology books, and it wasn't just I was getting the decisions wrong on a chart. I was getting the right decisions, but it was the mindset, it was the risk management that I really did lack that skill. Because I think anyone listening to this would believe that when they trade the markets, they want to be right on every trade. And obviously that's not the case. It's all about managing that expectations and self-awareness and managing that risk. And so after 18 months, once that clicked, I did this 20 trade challenge where I just literally followed the same setup, the same strategy with the right risk management, and then realized, bingo, that was the part of the holy grail, really, the part of the secret of being half decent as a trader. But you just never stop, do you? You never stop learning about yourself. It's never ending. 20 years later, you're still here, still learning about yourself on a daily basis. It just gets easier the more time you spend doing it.
A lot of traders have this idea that you can just like basically copy a strategy from someone else, like a profitable trader out there, just copy what they do, trade it on your own account, then you make good money with it. Then of course, like a lot of things involved. I know you're a fan of like personalizing things and like having a strategy that fits you more than just trying to like copy someone else's strategy. How do you go about this?
Yeah, I think, so we don't have any copy trading at our place here at Trading College. I mean, it's, we have webinars where we're telling them where we think the markets are going to go. But when I'm mentoring students, it's not about copy trading. I'm just trying to give them that, reduce the time. As a mentor, I'm reducing their time, their learning time. Instead of it taking 8 months, I'm reducing it to a month or something. Or instead of being 18 months, I'm reducing it to like 6-7 months. But we don't do like copy trade. I think it's just not right. I don't know what's worked. I have not heard of anybody that's used a copy trader and been successful if it eventually blows up. So it's much more powerful, I feel, by mentoring somebody that they can do it themselves. I had a brand new student. This is quite interesting. A brand new student start last month, and started off and got to get their expectations in place first. But then it was all about, okay, let's backtest. Backtest is so important for somebody. It builds their confidence. And once they back tested and they feel confident with the strategy, then it's all about doing it, isn't it? And so what this student did, which is obviously beginner's mistakes, is they started copying other traders. They couldn't follow their strategy. It's all well and good being able to have a strategy you back tested, but really it's always about forward testing, you being able to follow that strategy with your behavior. which often lets people down. So that's why we nurture and coach and get them through that.
What's your advice to people who cannot stick to a certain strategy? Like maybe they have something good that they know they can make money with, but they try to either make it more entertaining by trading other stuff, or they try to add some more things to it, or like you said, just like copy something else that they found online. How can you get these people to like stick to one thing only and follow that one strategy?
I think that's the number one question. I think that is a great question because I was like that as well, a little bit in that 18 months when I started, just shooting everywhere, just trying to find something else in that sort of nurturing, that stage when you're sort of in that discovery stage. You're looking for all sorts of stuff. And I see people after 15 years that are not with trading college, but they go around the block just looking for this holy grail. They can never stick to one thing. Now, listen, no, I don't think it's easy as just waving a magic wand, but these people might have something like ADHD. I know we are nurturing and coaching students that have ADHD, not in ADHD, but ADHD around trading because they can't stick to the same thing. And that is becoming much more common now. This self-awareness about, hang on, these people can't stick to one thing. So we do a few things with them to get them to stick to some rule-based strategies to the best of their ability. We allow them a little bit of leeway. They can go off and do a little bit of one or two trades that are a little bit beyond their trading system and not follow their system. Got to give them a little bit of leeway, but there's loads of reasons. And we also do we also do personality profiling on people at the start of their mentorship. We were, if not one of the first companies to mentor people in their, we're all qualified personality profile experts here at Trading College. So, people got their own personality styles, people have got their own behaviors, and people may have these things like ADHD that may get them to not stick to the same thing. But if we can get them to stick to the strategy within a window period of 30 minutes, an hour, then we're getting somewhere.
So one thing I found with people in that situation is that they usually do well if they have like a second account they can trade other stuff, like anything they like on, like just different strategies. If that account, it could be like a very small part of money, but if that account grows and makes money, then that's good. If it doesn't grow money or it just loses money, then it's still fun. But having like a second account to just like trade other stuff they want to trade, and then the main account to trade the things that they know will work, is usually working well. Is it the kind of thing you do also with these people, or is it different?
That's really good. I think that is something that that we do work with our students as well. Even if our funded account, we got a Stealth Trader funded account, and it's only a $300 subscription to a $25,000 account. We get them to use that possibly, or that is exactly right. That account, then they can blow that up and only lose $300. But their primary account is the one that they take certainly very much seriously. Yes.
What was the biggest challenge in your trading journey when you were trying to get profitable?
Just the self-awareness and the focus of sticking to one or two things. It's like a never-ending buffet trading. Is the markets. There's so many opportunities. I think just sticking to one or two markets. Some mornings when it's really boring, there's nothing happening, there's no trade setting up. And that was the challenge, I like variety in my life. I get bored. So it was that challenge of sticking to something. And I think I've conquered it now after many, many, many years. But, it's all about capital preservation, making sure that you are preserving your account, not blowing your account up, because that is the most important thing, really.
So I'm sure people watching this are going to want to ask, like, what's your trading style these days? What's the thing you focus on?
Yeah, I'm a momentum trader. I trade momentum on FX pairs. So, for example, I'll be trading, if it's going into a double top, I'll just fade the highs and drop it back in for 40, 50 points. If it's going with, a nice momentum move in the direction of the trend, I'll trade that in the direction of the trend, buying the pullbacks. Good old-fashioned strategies, stuff that you get a momentum move in one direction, you buy the pullback, and I buy it 3 times, and then I'm done. And I combine a little bit of Elliott wave. I don't think you can make money trading Elliott wave in its purest form, but I think there is structure to the Elliott wave. We go up in 5 waves a lot of the time, and we end the trend with a lot of divergences. And then we see a decent reversal. So I'm really much a momentum trader. I don't believe in FX that you should only trade. The trend is in different stages. And so it's either at the end, it's at the middle, or at the start. And that's where I like to pick those trades, preferably in the middle or at the end.
Is this based on like lower time frame, or are you kind of higher time frame kind of trader, or what do you rely on this?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick, I look at a lot of time frames, daily, weeklies, and stuff. I look at the actual. You might not believe this, but I actually look at the monthly chart to do day trades on 5 minute as well. You know, if we're coming into a major resistance area on the monthly, I can go scalp, like, well, not scalp because that's not the right word, but I could do 40, 50 points fading moves off a monthly chart. However, if you ask me, it'd be a 4 hour time frame combined with a 5 minute entry time frame. So we use we've got our systems and momentum indicators and systems at Trading College. So I'd use the 4 hour for where we are in the structure of the trend. It's not really hard. It sounds quite difficult, but it's not that difficult. And then down to the 5 minute for nice precision entry triggers.
So one thing you mentioned is being able to understand what kind of stage the trend is in right now. Is it like at the end, the beginning, the middle? How do you do that exactly? Because people have all different ways of looking at trends. Could be like Fibonacci, could be trend lines. In the end, I think the bigger picture is more important than these tools necessarily. But how do you figure out like how early or late are we in the trend in general?
Yeah, I think speed is quite good. Speed of movement, the price is moving within above moving averages. You know, I use 8 period, 20, 50, 200, all the basic stuff. But we get above those moving averages altogether, and we get those moving averages at 45 degrees. If we can get those moving averages angled up at 45 degrees, I call it Isabel's Bridge after my daughter because of another story. We'll get another time. But, we get those moving averages all together, then I think we're in a decent trend to the upside. But, I'm looking at my 5 minute chart, but then I've got my 4 hour dailies and stuff just sitting around me up here. And, I'm just looking to see where we're coming into a support or resistance ever. But if the price has got room to move and we haven't got much resistance above, then I'm going for a big move. If there's major resistance above, then I'm going for a small move, which could be something like 20 points.
One thing I want to discuss with you for sure is the idea of mindset with trading. So there's a lot we can cover here, but what do you think are the most important traits of a trader in terms of the mindset they have when they show up in the market?
I personally think that the psychology books just don't do it for me or a lot of students in the retail world. Don't overtrade. Yeah, we know all that, don't overtrade and so on. But I mean, I've wrote 7 things down for you and for the listeners that I think that give you a great trading day structure. First thing, 7 things here. The first thing I think is self-awareness. Okay, you've got to have self-awareness. This is something I didn't have. You come into the markets in the morning, you put your cap on to start trading, you've got your day trading cap on. And I think, you've got to have self-awareness. How do you feel? Did you sleep well? Have you had a drink from like 4 and you're really tired? Are you revenge trading from the day before? Did you have a great day the other day? Be aware of that. Be aware of how you're coming in to perform today. I think too many traders, now we're talking about the traders that really want to take this seriously and it be life-changing. You've got to have that self-awareness where you're performing today. And are you at your, are you primed to perform? Are you ready to perform? A lot of people come into trading, they'll blow money and they're just randomly trading, just guessing, no structure whatsoever. It's not hard to do this. You just need to work with somebody. Next, step number 2 is have a clear objective for the day. What is it you're trying to achieve today? What I mean by that is that, I could be going to play golf this afternoon at 2:00 and I want to trade from 7 in the morning to 11 and I'll be done for the day. Well, no later than 11 because I've got to go and do something else. What's my clear objective today? Just to go and make money in the morning session? How much am I looking to make, or am I just looking to make a profit? And then number 3, what's the routine? You've got to have these in place. What's your routine going to be? You just can't keep turning up at random times during the day. So for me, I'm up at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. I'm trading for a few hours and then just going for my day's money in the morning time. And then number 4, to have a good trade day, is strategy hunting. I'm looking for is there any trades setting up here? Where's what strategies are setting up? Do I like the strategy on the DAX or the euro dollar? What setup setting up here? Strategy, also known as setup. Then number 5, have I got my risk reward right here? Am I risking the right amount? Is this going to be a slow day today? Do I want to drop my position size? And then going back to number 6, clear objectives. Once you've made your money, leave the trading room. And then number 7, back to self-awareness. Am I over trading? Am I really trading well today, or am I trading poorly, or are the markets not moving? So it sort of goes around in a circle, really. 1 to 7, self-awareness, clear objectives, routine, strategy hunting, risk reward, clear objective, and then self-awareness at the end of the session.
You have any favorite way of like being self-aware in terms of like especially keeping track of trades or maybe mistakes you've made? How do you keep track of that?
Yeah, you can just use a journal, or just get yourself A4 pieces of paper and write stuff down. I think journaling is really good for people, and just use some journaling, which would help everybody. I don't like writing. I like drawing. I like listening. I like seeing pictures and chart patterns. I'm rubbish at writing stuff down, but I think it really does help a lot of people, and we see big gains. Not financially, but gains as improving with their trading when they start writing things down and they become more self-aware, because they can see the best trading days they've had are the days where they've just really prepared. And it's worth it, all this preparation, all this journaling, it's worth it to have the freedom to trade for the rest of your trading career, really. So, yeah, journaling's good. Get a lot of sleep, get a lot of sleep. I drink. So my routine is I get up in the morning, I'm up early, get the greens drink down me, drink healthy drink. Got to have some coffee, maybe a bit of fasting till 12 o'clock most days, which makes me feel much better. No eating after 8 o'clock at night. So I sleep well. Anytime, if I eat after 8 o'clock at night, then food's been digested and I can't sleep. I wake up and I'm not feeling great and so on. So yeah, all sorts of different things.
Good point there for sure. What I find funny is sometimes traders think that the way to get profitable is like they have to find a new strategy that works better than the one they have now. And sometimes they could have a good strategy that they trade, but it's like the mindset or the things that comes with it on the side, the execution, the risk management that makes it fail. So how do you kind of people to, like, people want to get profitable? Where should they look to get profitable? They have to look at their strategy first, look at the mindset first. How can they kind of work on this to improve it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think, new traders don't realize this, and it's not their fault, and all of us have done it. Any trader just wants to find the best strategy, and I think that's a good thing, because what they're trying to do, and we help them with this, of course, because the personality profile is that they're trying to find a strategy that fits their personality, and I think that's good. Let's go in discovery mode. Let's go finding stuff which suits your. And this is where our mentoring comes in, at the start of it is, what sort of type of trader are you? What do you want to be? Are you somebody who wants to trade from a 5-minute chart, or are you somebody who wants to just trade from slower timeframes? And I think the discovery phase at the start of learn to trade, you find that out what works for you. And it might take a month, maybe take 2 or 3 months. And then obviously then they find a strategy that works for them. But the strategy is absolutely useless if we can't follow that strategy. And that is the key. That is the key. And I think it's the hardest way to make an easy living trading, because we could sit here and click the mouse and place a trade, but it's that consistently doing it over and over and over again to grow the trading account, which we've had some huge successes, and with people just doing the same thing over and over again. And then what happens is, I think a lot of people don't get to the stage where they don't get to that time where they've given the strategy long enough to actually work out. Because what happens is, and what I'm trying to say is that they start trading, and we're completely generalizing here, but they start trading and they chop and change. They don't get to that point where they actually start to be profitable, because once you start getting profitable for 3 months, then you don't tend to go back to doing other things. You know what works. And so you have to give yourself a period of time to give it a chance to be profitable. Of course, if something's making 99% losing trades, and it's not the greatest strategy, but if you can give something time to play out, i.e. having decent winning trades and over a period of time, then you never go back. So I never trade anything that's not one of my strategies, because I know it loses me money, or I might win it every now and then. but it's not good practice to do that. And you just got to give yourself time to see if it works.
That's a good point. You either get tired of like strategy jumping, and then you don't want to do it anymore, then you stick to something, or you see the result of sticking to one strategy and getting good results with it, then you don't go back to switching strategies too often. Which is definitely a good point.
Do you see that a lot? I mean, have you dealt with that yourself?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. For me, it was the other way. So for me, it was like being so tired of like changing strategy all the time, of being on YouTube finding something new to trade, and I just knew that every time I would do it, I would just be losing money more and more over time. So I just got so tired with it that I decided to kind of stick to one thing and then just went from there. So some people have to go through that phase. They have to be tired of it. They have to kind of stick to one thing in the end. Some people, like you said, they are able to stick to something for a while, then they want to go to something else. They see they're profitable with it, so they stick to it after. It's different for different personalities, I guess, or different stories.
Yeah, our personality, the I personality is somebody that loves to chop and change. They get bored very quickly. I've got a bit of I personality, about 15-20%. And so the I personality will go hunting for something else because they're bored stiff. They're the life and soul of the party. They want variation. They want fun and games. And then, you get the C personality is really detailed. And if it's not perfect, this strategy, then, and it doesn't meet their criteria exactly every time, then they'll keep looking. So it's fascinating. Human behavior is fascinating. And I think if people go back to the question before, if people can sort of focus more, which is the hardest thing and the most probably challenging thing, on themselves and their personality, then they'll do far better in their trading.
Yeah, personality that's so interesting. I've been with this a lot for the past few years also, especially the disc profile, like you mentioned. There's a lot there for sure that we can cover or talk about. But I've seen people who have a high I score tend to be the guys who are usually like people person. They like to be around other people. And these guys tend to trade better in groups. Like you said, they get bored very easily of the same strategy. How do you recommend them to kind of play with this and use this to their advantage?
Yeah, I mean, so we have monthly group sessions where they come into the classroom and the I's love that because they're interacting with other human beings and they're having fun and games. So we make sure we fulfill them with that. And the C personalities, the more reserved people, you see them sitting there and they're not wanting to talk to many people. They just want to learn about the trading and sort of go home and stuff. But that's perfectly fine. I think the quicker you understand what type of personality profile you are, I wish I'd known this in my football career. I really do, because I'd have made different decisions or I've understood why I did things I did in my decision making as a football player on and off the pitch many, many years ago. It can only help. If it helps you, then you've got to use it. I want as many things in my favor as a trader, to make me more money, to give me the freedom to do what I want to do and watch my family grow up. So yeah, it's fascinating. So that's why, you dive into the profiling, and it's I think going back to the profiling, people might be listening to this thinking this is right. I don't want to know about profiling or learn about myself. Deep dive. That's the difference between, I suppose, high performers and people that really don't get as much out of it as they could do.
Yeah, the way I see it is people who are, like I said, high performers try to look for how to make it work for them, how to make it personalized for them. And people who are like not high performers just want to like get it done and make money. They're the guys who they look for the miracle solution, the one solution for everyone that will work for all. And that she doesn't work really well in trading or in sports or anything of the sort.
No, it doesn't. It's good that I'm talking to somebody like yourself who's done a bit of this as well and worked with this, because we've been doing it for many years, and it takes a lot of courage for somebody to come and have their profiling done and work with a mentor and take a deep dive, because this ego that we have, and especially men, not so much the ladies, because the ladies seem a little bit more gentle and more willing to take this stuff on board. It's the men with those big personalities that you have to work with. And a lot of the people, a mentorship student I had today, I was doing a one-to-one with, he sold his business for multi-millions. And he's now coming into he's an apprentice now in the trading world, and he's learning how to do this new skill. And it's like it's challenging. It's great to meet all these different people. It's brilliant.
It's a question I get a lot. Do you feel like there's any bad personalities for trading?
Yeah, the problem there is the high D, the Donald Trumps of this world type personalities. that type of, if we could just try and, the high D, actually, they can be quite aggressive. They're always right. Most of the time they're wrong, but they don't want to be wrong. They want to control the markets. They're very quite loud. They upset a lot of people because what they say. They get things done. Often are leaders, not always, because we can have gentle leaders as well. But when they come into trading, if they're a high D, so we've had a 99% D personality. Somebody came in on the report at 99%. I mean, that is just alarmingly higher. We had to rerun the report on them. So alarm bells and he turned out to be an aggressive person, couldn't take a losing trade, literally throwing things around. That type of person, which is extreme, shouldn't be in the world of trading. They should be, and this is no disrespect to builders, they should be out, knocking down buildings or something, I think. But they're the type. I think, and a high I, a really high I, just lacks that little bit of focus, I think. And so what we got to do, though, is we get their profile, we work out their personality, we all agree and they agree. We give it to their partners or wives or husbands to look at it as well, and they agree. And then when it comes to trading, they've either got to stay in their personality if it works, or we've got to move them out of their personality for that hour of trading. And so if we can move them from one side of the columns into the next side where they're more fitted, it's like a C personality with a D personality. A C is the technical side of it, the charts, details, and the D is placing the trade. If you've got somebody who's a C and an S, a C is the detail. Yeah, I know the strategies. I've back tested it. There's the pattern. When it comes to placing the trade live, the S often doesn't place the trade because cautious, overcautious, and that they don't. They just want that reassurance from somebody else to say it's okay. But yeah, it's there's no. I would say in general there is no perfect profiling combination, and I could say there's definitely that very high D. It doesn't fit trading at all, in my opinion.
If you have someone who's a high D and high S or C, that tends to be a lot better. Because that's a bit the way I am. I'm not so high on the D, but I'm higher on the S and the C. Mostly the C, and then that tends to work out pretty well. So you're able to kind of be go-getter, like do stuff, make it happen, but also like be more careful, plan things better, kind of be more prepared and stuff. So slightly better profile.
Yeah, so and also it's good for the coaches as well, because the coaches know what profile you are. So we can teach you in your preferred style of learning. Where a high C. If I'm teaching a high C student, I know that they'll want more detail.
So I'll be curious to hear, how do you make people change profiles for trading? Like, how do you make them go from, if they are like a high D or something, to then having a different style for while they're trading?
I mean, of course, we need to put another hat on when we're trading. They need to reinvent themselves as a trader for that hour of time or how long they're trading. It's all about their strategy they're taking and they're going to use, and to actually follow it and place the trade and not worry about the outcome, which is really hard to do. But it's, leave themselves outside the door, their natural style. And as they come into trading, it's their trading style now. I suppose it's like, and people that are working in businesses where they do presentations, they could be really nervous before they go and do a presentation to the board or whatever, but then they put their hat on and they deliver a presentation in a different style. And I suppose that's like trading. And it goes back to point number one, self-awareness. Because there's no point being the best technical analyst in the world if you're not making any money, if you're not placing trades, if you're not getting stopped out trades, because that's all part of trading. So they do have to move into and feel uncomfortable. If it's an S that's not taking a lot of trades and being too cautious, then start taking more trades, and see what the results are and get the results.
Good point there. And people wondering about what we talked about so far is the disc profiles, the DISC. I think we'll leave a link below for people to take it. They have some free versions of that. There are some paid ones that are a little bit better sometimes, but definitely possible to do for free also. We'll leave a link below for that.
Yeah, it's good. We're licensed disc coaches in a trading college, and we combine it with all the technical stuff. It just works very, very nice indeed.
I wanted to ask you, how do you manage trading with having a business to run? Because that can be conflicting a little bit. You've got to spend time on trading, of course, spend time running the business and make it work. Of course, coaching traders. How do you kind of manage all of this?
Very simply, I have other people doing it for me. So,
I think that's a solution for sure. Yeah.
and I have a lock on my door. And my passion is trading. If I couldn't trade, I don't know what I'll do, but it's trading in the morning. And then, I just manage my diary really, really well. I don't have a to-do list. It's all done with, so this podcast today is in the diary. If I've got to do stuff, that's not just specific to diary work, like meetings and stuff like this. Everything's put in the diary. Everything. Staff cannot get to me, a team cannot get to me unless it's in the diary, because I have to trade, and the trading is the important thing. And then the company has got lots of people in it. So there's people, I've got all my coaches that coach and mentor students, and then we've got all the support staff as well. And they work really, really well. And they've been doing it for many years together as a team. So yeah, I diarize and block everything out. So, people know when I'm busy and when I'm trading. And I diarize my trading, 6:30 in the morning to that mid-morning, it's in the diary, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good lesson, not just for like business and trading, but also for like how to manage your priorities. Because people have like they don't want training take like 8 hours a day and like be all over with this like the whole day. They want to manage this to 7 hours a day, then do other stuff on the side, things that they're passionate about, or things that they like to do. So having that kind of in place could definitely be useful for any kind of situation for trading and beyond that.
Absolutely. I mean, people, what's the point of just sitting here and getting unhealthy? You've got to have that break. You've got to go for a walk. You've got to go on your bikes. I do road biking. I go to the gym, play golf, and that's all in my diary. It's all in my diary because I'm committed to do it. And it's like trading, isn't it? You get the strategy, you've got to pull the trigger and place the trade because that's your duty. My other duties as well are keeping fit, looking after the family, looking after the team here, and then trading as well. So it's all in the diary throughout the day. And it works really good for people that have ADHD or people that struggle to stick to things or get things done, and have to-do lists, because after a to-do list, you just like look at it and you go, oh, I'm overwhelmed here. I've got 12 things on my list. I'm never going to get through them. But if you transfer them into the diary, and so at like 2 till 4, you're doing something to write a book or whatever, it's in there, and you'll focus much more to do it and get it done.
See, that's also what I do, but I have this habit of like overscheduling stuff, and I've been using it a lot over the years. But even after a couple of years doing it, still an issue for sure. So are you facing the same problems?
It's been working well for me. No to-do list, put it in the diary and do that. Over scheduling, I think the odd one where but it works great because I've got a team, because then they look inside and they know I'm doing this podcast with you for this hour or so, and nobody's trying to contact me. It's great.
Awesome. Oh, that being said, I do want to respect your time, and we covered a lot in this interview. So where can people find you or connect with you if they want to reach out after the podcast here? Where can they see your work and learn more from you?
Yeah, I mean, we've got some free stuff at tradingcollege.co.uk, webinars on there, learning webinars, all sorts of free stuff. And just dive onto the website and see what we got, guys, and come and join us.
Awesome. I'll leave a link below for that, people to check it out and see what you're doing there. You also, of course, on social media everywhere around, so we'll leave that link, those links below as well. I appreciate your time here, Lee. I think it's been good to catch up and see what you're doing here. I look forward to see how we can collaborate in the future and see more of what you're doing in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.